The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Tom O'Brien Show is produced every business day after the market close. Tom takes your phone calls from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time using the data available at that time.
Let's go to a Bill in Boca Raton. Hey, Bill, what's going on?
Not too much. Enjoying the warm weather in Florida just like you, except on the other coast.
Perfect, man. Perfect.
Yep.
Do you listen on the internet right now?
Yes.
Cool, man. Cool.
No, I enjoy that. That's in your Tiger TV and everything. I've been watching you for years, and you've really taken this whole programming to a level that's just phenomenal.
I appreciate it.
And now, here's Tom O'Brien.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am not Tom O'Brien. I am Ken Shree, filling in for Tom O'Brien on hour number 1 of the Tom O'Brien Show. My good friend David White is going to be handling hour number 2, but thanks for tuning in. If you haven't had a chance to listen to my own show on TFNN, it's called Breakout Investing. That airs every Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. Number to use to get through is 877-927-6648, 877-927-6648. I launched my Ultimate Growth Stocks Model Portfolio at TFNN.com a few months ago, and I publish once a week with email buy and sell alerts in between. I publish every Tuesday, and for those of you that want to understand how I approach the market, I'm going to be doing a free webinar on Thursday, July 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be called How Sales and Earnings Power and Fuel Price Performance. That's Thursday, July 21st at 7 p.m. It's a free webinar. It'll be about a half an hour of material and then about a half an hour of Q&A as well. Let's take a look and see where we're at in the market today. We are closed. The market is closed. TGIF, Happy Options Expiration Day. Pretty good day for the market. Once again, the story of no volume has been a consistent one for options expiration. It looks like we did have volume on the New York Stock Exchange come in a little bit higher than Thursday. The Dow, I'm not sure if this is a final settle, but up about 43 points or so, 0.3% to 12,479. Good day of outperformance for the NASDAQ. It's up close to 1%, 27 points or so to 2789, and the S&P 500 up just over 7 points, 0.6% to 1316. Looking at a chart of the S&P 500, and don't forget, folks, when I'm looking at a chart in the studio here, you can also, if you're at a PC, you can watch it live on Channel 1 and Tiger TV on the homepage of TFNN.com. So you can see the S&P 500 closed below its 50-day moving average yesterday, closed back above the line today. Again, looks like we're going to have a little better volume today on the New York Stock Exchange than Thursday. NASDAQ volume is going to be, looks like it's going to be coming in pretty close to Thursday's level. So we'll also take a look at a chart of the NASDAQ and see where we're at. NASDAQ has been able to hold its 50-day moving average. That's compelling to some extent. It closed just above the line yesterday, and NASDAQ had a good day today, again up close to 1%, and it's still holding above its 50-day moving average. Taking a look at gold today, gold for August delivery rose 80 cents to close at $1,590.10 an ounce. For the week, it gained 3.2%, so good week for gold. Not surprising that gold continues to catch a bid here amid all of the uncertainty that seems to be hitting the market on many different fronts at this point. Oil up $1.55 to $97.24 a barrel. The debt ceilings continue on Capitol Hill. The debt ceiling talks continue on Capitol Hill. Earlier today, President Obama said congressional leaders should, quote, seize the moment and stabilize America's balance sheet by agreeing to entitlement reform and higher taxes on wealthier Americans. I think there's a perception by the market, even though we did close near the highs today, that it's not a sure thing that a deal is going to be reached until or at this August 2nd deadline. I think if you put 10 people in a line and ask them if a deal is going to get done, you're probably going to get a lot of people that say, well, there's no way they're going to let this deadline pass without coming to some sort of agreement. I tend to agree with that, but this does seem to be a common opinion among many. So hopefully Washington will sort all this information out, and we'll come to an agreement on the debt ceiling. M&A news today. It was actually news announced late Thursday. Oil and gas producer PetroHawk Energy, that's ticker HK. Stock, I'll just get a quote on that at the close. Ticker HK, PetroHawk Energy. Stock had a huge day. It was up about 63% to 38.24 a share. News here is that Australian mining giant BHP Billiton offered $12.1 billion to buy out PetroHawk Energy. The deal is BHP Billiton's second foray into the U.S. shale gas business. Earlier this year, BHP Billiton paid $4.75 billion to acquire the shale assets in Arkansas from Chesapeake Energy. So a little bit of merger and activity news today. Let's go to Kevin on the line in Boston. Wants to talk about ticker MET. Kevin, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well today. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
I'm looking for a partial entry point here, and I want to get your thoughts.
Okay, we're talking MetLife, very liquid stock with an average daily volume of 7.5 million shares, market cap, large cap stock, market cap of about 44 billion. Life insurance company, among other things. So you're looking to buy the stock here?
Yeah, look at this position.
Okay, so the stock, you said the stock had a gap up in price and actually came back and filled that gap. MetLife gapped up on June 29th. It's been pulling back, trying to firm up right around this price level here at 41.50, 41.55 thereabouts. I typically. Kevin, I'm not sure if you're familiar with my methodology, but I tend to target more, strong relative price performers in the market, and stocks trading, below support levels is really not in my bailiwick. But and this is a case where MetLife is below its 50-day, it's below its 200-day, it's in a downtrend. So there may be a trade here up to its 50-day moving average around 43 or so, but I suspect that those resistance levels at 43.50 could be problematic for the stock in the near term. That's my general take on this one.
All right. Well, I appreciate your take, and thank you.
Okay, Kevin, appreciate it. All right, let's go to Doug in New Jersey, who wants to talk about Google. Google, obviously a big day today. Doug, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Well, you keep it up, and I will too.
Okay.
I shouldn't say obviously. Google's done nothing, and until today had a fabulous earnings report, and particularly I focused in on paid clicks, and that was very significant to me. I know how Tom feels about gaps up, absent, if you will, a change in underlying fundamentals, significant change. Would you see this as a significant change? I think it's pretty significant to me, and also you got a huge volume day. Looking on a weekly chart, it's more than we've had in God knows how long. So how do you view this gap up, and how would you play it? I'd like to be in it, but I'm not going to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Google was a stock, Doug, that was, just in a world of hurt before today. The stock was down about 16% since mid-January. Terrible price performance in the market. It did start to rally off its lows over the past couple of weeks. But, my take on the earnings report is that I think it is a game changer of an earnings report. I mean, you had another quarter of acceleration in quarterly sales growth. I mean, overall sales were up 32% year over year to just over $9 billion. The earnings were there. Costs were higher, but I think there was too much good news in this earnings report to ignore. Obviously, the stock's technical picture has improved quite a bit. At this point, what I would wait to do is just watch and see how it trades over the next couple of days. If indeed this move is for real, you'd expect it to move sideways. You'd expect it not to give up a lot of ground. I mean, it went out today at around $597 a share. Let's see if it can move sideways and just not really give up much ground. Prove to investors that it's well supported up at this new price level around $600 a share. But bottom line is that this was an earnings report that surprised a lot of people, including institutional investors, and I do think you had some institutions getting in that stock today.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, Doug, thanks for the call. Yeah, I think that this earnings report from Google. Believe me, I was not a big fan of Google. There's a lot of stocks that are working in this market, and Google was not one of them. But just like Google had been a sluggish price performer for quite some time, even Apple in recent weeks has started to come back to life, and I think shares actually hit an all-time high today. Let's pull up a chart of Apple and see where it closed. But, I think there's a lot of optimism about Apple's earnings report as well. So Apple up 2% today to 365.03. That does look like an all-time high for the stock. So, in regards to what Doug was asking about Google, I think this price move is for real. I would not expect it to reverse, for example, in coming days and weeks and give back a lot of the gains today. I think it was a very, very strong earnings report from Google. Other news today, we had news, activist investor Carl Icahn, interesting news before the open today. He offered to buy household products maker Clorox, ticker CLX, for $12.6 billion. But the funny thing about this story was that he doesn't think he's the best guy to buy this company. He suggested that Clorox seek other suitors, but still he put a bid in there. The bid valued Clorox at about $76.50 shares. We could take a look at Clorox, again, a household products maker, and stock gapped up today, up close to 9% to $74.55. So Carl Icahn interested in buying Clorox for $12.6 billion. Some economic data earlier today that we can talk about real quick. Consumer price index, overall prices down 0.2%. The core rate up 0.3%, almost identical to what we saw in the producer price index reading yesterday. Don't think the market is focused right now on inflation. It is out there, but I think the market is sort of in accord with the Fed right now that it's contained so far. There is a chance it could become elevated over the next few months, but pretty tame readings on inflation yesterday in wholesale prices and today in the consumer price index. We had a very poor reading. Market performance today pretty impressive considering the poor reading that we got in consumer confidence from the University of Michigan. I mentioned David White is going to be hosting hour number 2 today. Well, he asked me a question yesterday on my show. Does the IBD TIP Economic Optimism Index, which came out earlier this week on Tuesday, does that have a good track record of sort of mirroring what's said in the University of Michigan and Conference Board surveys? And the fact is, it does, and the earlier reading this week from IBD really nailed it, because the University of Michigan, after a rating of 71.5 in June, the index plunged to 63.8 in July. Another reading is due later in the month. Again, earlier this week, the IBD index fell 3.2 points, or 7%, to 41.4. Two components of the index fell sharply: the 6-month economic outlook, as well as the confidence in